will be changed. Many people write and try to explain to me that we are living in a new day, and I need to wake up. My friend, we are living in a new day, but it just happens to be Sodom and Gomorrah all over again. And that concludes that section. Now we're going to move on to the next section. Oops. And so and this next section is section verses 6 through 11. Another short chapter, as you're going to see. So hold on to me. Hold on with me. Verse 6. And Lot went out at the door unto them and shut the door behind him and said, I pray you, brethren, do not so wickedly. And the men of Sodom were outside of the door asking that these guests in the home of Lot be turned over to them. Lot said, I pray you, brethren, do not so wickedly. That is the way he looked at it. And he had been down there in Sodom a long time. It wasn't new morality to him, it was just old sin. That we've gotten kind of used to that today. Verse 8. Behold, now I have two daughters which have not known man. Let me, I pray you, bring them unto you, and do ye to them as is good in your eyes. Only unto these men do nothing, for therefore came they under the shadow of my roof. Genesis chapter 19 and verse 8. You see here the low esteem of women in the culture of that day, Chuck Smith says. And so let me continue reading here a little bit. When a man entered a guest in that day, he was responsible for him. Lot was willing to make that kind of sacrifice to protect his guests. Be thankful for Jesus bringing in equality for women. If you're for women's rights and for women equality, praise Jesus. Give your life to Jesus because he brought about equality for women in the world, Chuck Smith says. Not outside of Christianity will you find women having rights. The Greeks held that women of low estate uh, shows here that Lot's morality and lowering of his values to tolerate evil and homosexuals of that day. We become used to it. We're like a frog in a frying pan. Kiddies are like, oh, there's a parade. Let's go to a parade. And then you see two men having sex on one of the floats in San Francisco. I'm sure that's what Lot saw it everywhere, and his children saw it. His girls. There was 4 girls. I don't know where Lot gets or where Jay Vernon gets boys, but there were 4 girls. He tries to skip over the sexual part, which we probably should not go into it too deeply. Verse 9, and they said, stand back. And they said again, this one fellow came in to sojourn, and he needs to be a judge. Now will we deal worse with thee than with them. And they pressed sore upon the man, even Lot, and came near to break the door. Genesis chapter 19 and verse 9. And they said, this one fellow came in to sojourn, and he needs to be a judge. You see, Lot was advancing in the political arena there. Verse 10, but the men put forth their hand and pulled Lot into the house to them, and shut to the door. Okay. And they smote the men that were at the door and the house with blindness, both small and great, so that they worried themselves to find the door. Genesis chapter 19, verses 10 and 11. If Lot's guests had not done this, both they and Lot would have been destroyed. But that was the intention of the men of Sodom.